to help provide quality patient care, even though you will not be utilized in the development of the care plan. Use of medical terminology and abbreviations is common when communicating and charting in health care. The medical profession, like many other professions, really has a language all of its own. The terms will seem strange for you at first and a bit confusing, but as time goes by and as these terms are practiced, they will become part of your language as well. You may not make up your own abbreviations. The medical abbreviations that you see come from the Greek and Latin. I'm sure you, in your email correspondence or letter writing, shorten up words to make it go a little bit more quickly. Those abbreviations are not going to be acceptable in the healthcare facility for your documentation. Imagine what it would be like if each one of us that knows a little abbreviation would utilize those abbreviations. We would be hard-pressed to be able to read or understand what the others had written. Your student manual provides you with a listing of medical abbreviations and terms that you will need to know. At the completion of this lesson, take time to complete the exercise provided. Study the medical abbreviations and terms until you can use them comfortably. Each healthcare facility is required to have a list of approved medical abbreviations. It's part of the policy and procedure of every healthcare facility. You will be made aware of those abbreviations that are approved for use in your facility. It's important that only those abbreviations that are on the approved list in your facility are used by you and others. All patient records are considered confidential because they deal with the individual, private, and personal information about patients and their conditions. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, more commonly called HIPAA, is a federal law that has established standards for privacy and security of health information. Specific training of all employees is mandated by this act in policies and procedures that protect health information. This training will be part of the orientation that you have to your health care facility. I'd like to cover just a few of the guidelines that you will hear during that orientation and deal with the privacy. Chart in only designated areas in your facility, and once you have completed the charting, return the chart to its proper location and out of view of others. Facilities are placing these charts now in locked cupboards where they must be retrieved when they are going to be utilized again. The chart is the private property of the facility, and no portions of it may be removed from the premises. So, in other words, it would not be acceptable for you to take a chart home to do your charting after you'd left work. It would never be acceptable for you to take pieces of the chart, different chart forms out of it, and take it with you, make copies of it. No part of it may be removed from the premises, and you would not be allowed to make any copies of any of the chart forms either. If a patient or family member asks to see the chart, you would refer that request to the nurse. It's always acceptable for a patient to see that record, and with patient permission, family members may be able to see sections of the chart as well. But you need to refer that to the nurse or physician because in looking at the chart there will be needing to be interpretation of the information provided, and the nurse or physician are in better position to be able to provide that interpretation for the patient and family. Keep a cover sheet over all records on a clipboard. Things that are on clipboards would be things like I&O sheets. Sometimes flow sheets are on a clipboard, but you can understand that the information on those forms, if they're out in view of others, might be an invasion of a person's privacy. So it is required now that a cover sheet be on top of any of those records on a clipboard. Discuss patient information only on a need-to-know basis. This goes for co-workers that you might have on your unit. If the co-worker is not taking care of the same patients that you are, then you may not discuss the information about the patients that you're caring for with those other co-workers. It's only on a need-to-know basis, and just be discussing patient information with others that are caring for those individuals as you are. There should be never any discussion about patients in public or open areas of the facility, because there would be fear of others, patients, other family members, friends, anybody in the public might overhear. Do not leave the computer unattended, and always log off after making your entries. Position the computer so that information is concealed from public view. Sometimes you will find that the computer is stored in a well and a counter is on the top, so that it makes it even more difficult for anybody walking by to see information on that computer monitor. Do not leave charts or computer-generated printout where others can read them or take them with them. Be sure that you destroy or shred any worksheets that are not going to be part of the permanent record. And you would never share your password with anyone else. If someone has access to your password, that person can get into the computer under your name. And if a record is altered, it would be very difficult to prove that it was done by someone other than yourself. Recording the date and time of your observations accurately is a very important part of your documentation. Some facilities use military time, or sometimes called a 24-hour clock, for recording, rather than the 12-hour clock, sometimes called the conventional time. This conventional clock has the AM and PM needed for recording the time. If you are using military time, the hours from midnight to noon are referred to as blank 100 hours. For example, 2 a.m. conventional time is 0200 military time. The PM hours, meaning the hours from 12 noon to midnight on the 12-hour clock or conventional clock, can easily be converted to military time by use of a process called just add 12. If you look at 1 p.m. conventional time,